was like 3 or 4 years ago, we started making our own ice cream scoops because we were getting lots of questions or lots of people requesting ice cream not in the ice cream sandwich. Yeah. So we had the macarons and then we had ice cream sandwiches, and people were coming in and saying, I really just want some ice cream.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary. Welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we are excited to have Liz Lanier on the show of Joy Macarons and neighbor in Oak Cliff. And I think everyone will be shocked to learn that your name is not Joy, but
That's right.
Liz.
It's not. Yeah. But hashtag Liz, not Joy.
That's it.
Hashtag Liz, not Joy. We'll spread that one around.
I will answer to Joy, but but technically not my name.
Liz. It's Liz.
That's too funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Liz, thanks for being on the show. And,
of course. Thanks for having me.
We're just so excited to get to kind of tell your story, learn more about what you love about Oak Cliff, and hear kind of how Joy came about. And so, first question is how'd you come about to Oak Cliff in the neighborhood here?
Well, I grew up in Fort Worth, which is only about 30 miles from here, and knew about Oak Cliff, but did not know about Kessler Park and Winnetka and all these hidden gems over here. We kind of just drove right past Oak Cliff every time we came to Dallas. But my husband and I were moving back to Texas from California in 2010, and I had actually visited this neighborhood, the Bishop Arts District.
Oh, cool.
I went to at the time it was Bolsa.
Yeah,
and I don't know if y'all remember Tillman's was here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so kind of went to those two places and thought this neighborhood was really awesome. And so when we were looking for houses or where to live, when we moved back, we looked in the neighborhood, and I just literally fell in love with the house that we're still in, that we've lived in for 14 years. So we moved straight there from California and never looked back. And the best decision I think that we ever made, moving back, moving.
Where in California were you guys living at the time?
We moved from Los Angeles.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So coming from Los Angeles to Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
What drew you into Oak Cliff when you were here? I mean, you ate at some awesome places.
Yes.
What kind of things were you attracted to?
Well, we were really attracted to just the other people who were living in the neighborhood. It felt it actually felt, out of everywhere in Dallas, it felt, and even Fort Worth, it felt very similar to where we were in LA. Mm-hmm. Just, like-minded, artsy, people motivated to do creative, fun things. And as y'all know, it just draws that type of person into this neighborhood, and so we've loved it. And honestly, our neighbors were so nice. Even when we were just looking at the house, they were like, "Oh, hey!" I mean, we met like all these people on our street, and everybody was so friendly, which was not like LA.
That's not like LA. Yeah.
So we were really excited about that part of moving back to Texas.
That's so true. Yeah.
A constant theme on the show is hearing people say just that like-minded kind of group being attracted to here, and kind of that idea of entrepreneurs and makers and creatives. And I mean, not that that's all that's in Oak Cliff, but that is for sure something that people are attracted to. And so that's cool hearing that.
Yeah.
It seems like a place you can really build a business, start a business if you want.
Yes.
And that doesn't seem always true elsewhere, but I mean, that's part of the DNA of this place.
Who were we talking to the other day that was talking about how there's certain areas that want to buy local or buy, they care that it is made in this area or this. I mean, obviously you think of places like Seattle or whatever, but like I think it was maybe Jason.
Was it? Okay.
Oddfellows, Jack of All.
Yeah.
Where it's just like Austin was one of those places that's like, oh, if it's local, I'm going to go after it and try to buy this. But that also happens to an extent in Oak Cliff too. I think that's tied off of those like-minded people a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I agree.
Anyway, speaking of all that, bakery.
Yeah.
Have you been baking all your life? Like, tell us a little bit of that origin story. We'd love to know more.
No, I've been eating sugar all my life, and had a major sweet tooth always. My mom reminded me when I started Joy that in the third grade, that we had our third grade class built a city, and everybody was supposed to pick a different, building that they were going to put in the city, and people were doing like office buildings and the hospital and the fire department, and I did like the local bakery, and I made it out of sugar cubes, and she was like, I'm pretty sure this is just what you were meant to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I've always loved bakeries, and I've always loved just baked goods, and then dabbled in the baking process. So I started baking a lot, really seriously, I think when I was, out of college in California. And interesting, we were living in Los Angeles when Sprinkles opened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a degree in art direction for advertising, and so I was kind of doing that, but I was also working in retail, and I worked at Ralph Lauren, and Sprinkles was around the corner, and there was a line around the corner every day.
Yeah.
And, so going in there to kind of check things out, I just was fascinated by this idea of doing the baked goods, and then also this really great design, because she just really married those two things together so well. And so, I don't know, that something just kind of clicked for me in there. And I was like, oh, you can do that. Because everywhere else I'd been like a regular bakery. You just walk in. It's the standard thing. They look beautiful because of all the stuff that's in the cases.
Right. But it's kind of no frills sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you walk in, it's not like when you walk into Joy where it's like, oh, this is a beautiful experience.
Like,
it's not.
Or
it's
even the
beautiful.
packaging.
I mean,
yeah.
look at
Look at
this.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No,
it's so good.
It provides a feeling. It's a brand you've built around it.
Yeah.
A few years ago, you were gracious enough to give a talk at Wax Space. I think it was Eating with Your Eyes, and you talked a lot about the idea of building a brand and kind of having that excellence with the baking in general. How did Sprinkles or other places kind of like, how did they like show you that was a good idea and something you wanted to go to? Because you've taken that to this company.
Yeah. Well, I think I just really loved design, and I love like graphic design, and I love packaging and all that stuff, and spent hours looking through, communication arts books and everything. And so I already really loved that part of just branding and design. And so it just made sense to me that you could kind of put that. I just don't think people were, nowadays it's like you have to do that. But, 14, 15 years ago, people were opening, even restaurants and stuff were just pretty, not... They were getting there, but
there was a little less attention to
less attention to all the
design.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I just knew when we started Joy, I wanted all the little details to be, perfect and fun, because all of it's fun, right?
Yeah.
The eating of the cookies and the making of the cookies is so fun, right? You love that part, but the name Joy also comes from just all of the details are fun.
Yeah.
I want people to walk in and feel like they're in somewhere special, and they're going to get something special, and a really special box, and
it's a whole experience is special. It's not just what you're eating; it's the things you're seeing, the people you're meeting.
Yes.
It's all of those things. And you've done it for 10 years now.
Almost 10 years.
So congratulations!
Thanks,
crazy.
That's so exciting.
Crazy. That's crazy.
10 years ago,
Wild.
I'm sure Oak Cliff looked a little different back then when you first got started. Did you ever think that you would start a business? Was this something that you wanted to do when you were younger, or was it something that just kind of happened?
I was one of those like serial entrepreneur-y kind of hobbyist. I tried soap and I tried bookmaking, so
nice.
I kind of
cool.
always wanted to do something on my own. I thought I always wanted to do something, and then I really wanted to do the bakery thing.
Yeah.
And when we moved to Dallas and we were in this neighborhood, it just to y'all's point about having the accessibility, it felt doable, and even though it was a little bit scary, we just we found this great space off of Davis and on the corner of Davis and Tyler, and it's a good space property, and David, the owner, was kind enough to let us do a pop-up there because the space was empty and he was renovating that space at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, so it just, all the stars kind of aligned and for that space. Now, I did think that that was going to be the only one, that I was just going to be in, because we built a kitchen at that space. And I really thought that I hired one employee and she and I made the cookies and I did the counter and, so I just thought that was going to be it.
Oh,
so
wow.
when it did well, and then we were like, oh, should we open another
Let's keep growing. Yeah.
So anyway, I did not expect to continue to grow too. I didn't think that that's what was going to happen.
Interesting, yeah.
So you have the kitchen on Jefferson Boulevard.
Yes.
And then what other locations?
So we have the Joy on Davis, and then we have one on Lower Greenville.
That's right.
And then we have one at the shops at Clear Fork in Fort Worth, and then at Waters Creek in Allen.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. That's
awesome.
so cool.
All from Davis Street.
Yeah.
That feels like a big transition too.
Yeah.
I think about that with small business. It's like going from one location to even a second one feels like a gigantic leap in the way you think about the business.
Yeah, for sure. It was but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt at the time, it wasn't what I thought was going to happen, but when we did it, it was like, oh yeah, this is cool.
It makes sense. Yeah. This is the way to go.
Yeah, I want to do this.
That's cool.
It was fun.
That's neat.
Going off of that, because some of this is, Grant and I are entrepreneurial in our thinking too.
I was going to say, y'all are kind of doing the same thing.
Oh,
y'all are
it's so
just
fun.
constantly
got our hands in a whole bunch of stuff, starting podcasts.
I know.
But yeah, going to like that second location or even that second growth, is there any advice you give to people? Or because I think that is, having the opportunity of putting something in a space is like amazing, seeing if it works, but doing that second, how did you get to that point? Did you just grow enough, or was it love to know more about that, even personally.
I think for us, I also have this great business partner, my husband.
That's awesome.
who is super smart and just very thoughtful. So and doesn't really do anything, too hastily or anything. He's a real solid, And so I'm more of the person who's like, I don't know, it just feels right. Let's do it. And he's like, well, hold on, let's get all of our ducks in a row. So I would just say that, ducks in a row are good. Making sure that you find a great space. Just also, I'm one of those people who wanted it to be like this explosion of, like lines out the door, and it's so awesome. And that's not something that's ever really happened for us. It's not that kind of place. It's more of a stop in or place an order or get them as gifts and things like that. So I had to kind of retrain my own thoughts about what I thought this business was going to be. And just also, I would say I kind of have a tendency to say, well, let's do this, and maybe we need to add that. And I think a lot of bakeries or businesses kind of, in times where things were maybe a little bit slower, they think, we have to add more. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, Jason has always said, let's just keep, stay with what we're doing well, and just keep making it this product better. Let's don't get off course. And I would say that was that's been huge for us, because it's just helped us to stay, in our lane and not forget about all the details. And also just staying relevant, trying to make sure that we've updated the packaging 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And, we are constantly, in the stores, making sure that everything looks the way it's supposed to, and not letting anything get, too run down. We've painted the stores a few times, changed the awnings, and just all these little bitty things, but just making sure that you're keeping up with all the details.
I love the idea of focusing, on the quality and trying to kind of even put some guardrails around yourself of like, hey, there's a million fun, exciting things you can do, but like, is that what's best ultimately, like for the product? Like, is your product going to get better if you do that? Maybe not. Like, the thing that you're really good at, keep doubling down on that. I think that's a really good piece of advice.
I would say that's you see people come and go, and I think a lot of times I'm like, oh, they're trying to do the unicorn cakes. And
the unicorn
everybody,
cake.
You remember the unicorn cake
I do.
Like trend?
That was hilarious.
Like it was like everybody did the unicorn cake thing, and I really wanted to jump on the bandwagon too. I mean, I loved them; they were so cute.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Don't chase all the trends.
Don't chase all the unicorn cakes.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah,
it's hard.
It is tough.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, we were talking to the some of the brewery people down there, and that was one of the things too. Is just like, oh, these different things. I mean, in beverage industry, it's like, this one is Stelzer's this or that, and it's like you have this opportunity to try all these different things, but is that worth taking it?
Is it worth it? Yeah,
that's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, well, because you have to think about it's not just mental capacity. It's like it's money too. It takes It's costly to try new things. It's your brand. It's your brand. Does it fit in your?
Yes.
Go back. Look at your original plan. Is what you want to do? Is it fitting with that? Not saying that you can't change your original plan, but just make sure you're staying in your lane.
One of the things about Oak Cliff, I think that's pretty. Maybe it feels unique, but is just how much businesses try to help each other too, and I kind of remember that was part of your story, maybe even with Megan. Or
yes.
Do you mind sharing some of that? I know that's like. And just in general, if there's other businesses that you've worked with or ways that I think Oak Cliff's kind of been friendly in that way, that'd be fun to know.
So many ways, I feel like. I mean, you guys.
Yeah.
Number one. But I started, so 10 years ago it was a little bit, about 10 years ago, I started doing this I was making the macarons out of my house.
Oh, wow.
Well, you can't. Back then, you can now, but back then there was a law that said that you couldn't sell at farmers markets or anything like that with product out of your house. You had to have a commercial kitchen space. Okay. And so I kind of shopped around, that idea and it was hard and was not really finding anything. And so luckily I, reached out to Megan at Emporium Pies and she was so gracious to let me come in to their kitchen and I rented kitchen space from her and she let me keep all my stuff there, which was not heard of. And I mean, she basically showed me how to use all this commercial equipment that I did not know how to use because I did not go to culinary school. I did not know how to use any of this stuff. And I was using my little KitchenAid at home to make these, so I couldn't make very many at a time. Anyway, it was just a game changer and that was a huge help, and I don't think that she will ever know how much that helped propel me. And then I would say, I mean, it was so cool and just so gracious, just so, what? Of course, you can use it. Like, no, it was like no big deal. I was so nervous, to even ask. And then we became great friends. And then just David Spence letting us use that space to do a pop-up, and then I met Kyle Steed there that day, and he he painted our sign out front, and then then we've become really great friends, and then on and on, and then becoming friends with Oak Cliff Coffee, and that's what's in the coffee Shannon, ice cream from Shannon and. Anyway,
it's a good collab.
It's
That's
just
awesome. That's awesome.
So many. The list could go on and on and on. I mean,
it feels like less competitive, more collaborative. Maybe it's a way to think about like you open a business and people are like, "Hey, that's awesome. I could use this, or we could collab in this way, or that's special. That's good."
There's a give back nature a little bit too. I think that's interesting. I mean, even we were talking to Sky at La Bodega the other day, and she's like, oh, I want to help different people who are starting out too. And so it's like the people who do have, I don't know, they're doing it like Emporium Pies or yourself or whatever. It's like there's a give back-ness to some of the local side of this. That's kind of fun.
But I do think is pretty unique to this neighborhood too. Because this is partially my fault also, but the other Joy locations, I haven't done a very good job of like knowing my neighbors as well. I do know them a little bit, and I try, to make sure to, introduce myself. But this is a unique spot for sure. Cliff is.
And this is naturally your neighborhood, so it's
like I also live here. Yeah,
your neighbors are here.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand what you're saying. Like that, it's not true of everywhere in
It's not
DFW.
true of everywhere. It could be, and I'm sure that the other places where we are.
I mean, they're fine. Other neighborhoods are okay.
We, like every episode, we're like, no offense, Richardson, but like we, you know.
No offense. No offense. Yeah.
Richardson.
Well, Greenville. I mean,
It's always Richardson.
there is some camaraderie on Greenville. I mean, those are all pretty small businesses.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Greenville's
That's true.
great.
It's really
They're
great.
great.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
great.
East Dallas.
Yeah,
East
they're
Dallas.
great.
You know,
All of them.
some spots over there.
Yeah, it's so good.
So how did you land on the macaron or macaroon? And is there a proper way of saying it?
No, I think that, listen out there, you can say it however you want to.
There
is
you
what
go.
I
You heard
think
it here
I'm
first.
just going to open this up like answering.
Go
There
for
is
it.
a difference in the spelling. So the 2 O's is the coconut drop cookie.
Right.
And these are not that. These are these are made with almond flour, and they're the little sandwich cookies. Then you can put whatever you want to in the middle.
Gorgeous.
Anyway, we so I would say no. Wait, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh,
remember the
how did
question.
you land on?
I just
How
distracted.
did I land on this?
I completely
Oh, yeah, I'm
distracted
like,
all of
ooh.
ourselves
I'm like, oh, how
with
do they-
like these beautiful
It's so
cookies.
stunning looking. Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
I started making these. They're tricky. They're very hard to make. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just a really difficult cookie. Even today, I'm still like, I stand at the oven and I'm like, please come out. So they're just a little tricky to make. And I think I kind of, I fell for that. I really was like, I'm going to master these.
Yeah, you're
It
like,
was
I
a
like the
challenge.
difficulty
Yeah.
level.
I liked
Okay.
the difficulty. I also really like the size, and of course you can do anything in the middle. There's a real, you can do so much with macarons. I mean, not only do we put buttercream and jam and stuff, and now we're putting ice cream in the middle.
Oh,
like, it's so fun.
The best.
We've
So-
yeah.
I'm a sucker for that.
So yeah,
That item right
and
there.
who knew that the macaron would be such a great vehicle for ice cream?
Yeah.
So great. So
Did you kind of invent that, or was that like, have you seen
I'd
some of that before?
I had seen it
'Cause I've
before,
just
but
never seen
not
it. No. Yeah.
not very many places.
Okay.
And certainly not to like what we start. We've like, I feel like we've kind of
You got, like, the
gone
ice cream
bonkers
cart,
with it.
or,
Yeah,
like,
we've
yeah.
gone bonkers with the ice cream sandwiches. We love it.
We do too. We love those
we love
things.
them. So I kind of seen people doing that, but yeah, like one or like a flavor here and
Yeah.
there,
Okay.
but not. I don't know.
And they're so beautiful. So many colors. It's just such a
it's
cool,
fun. Yeah.
unique
So
thing.
I liked that, and I thought that I really loved making them. I love to eat them, and then I just thought it was a cool concept to kind of have them laid out, and macaron shops were not there wasn't a macaron shop in Dallas when we opened, but people were doing them. It was like starting to become pretty
I remember you talking about in your talk too about the bakery in Fort Worth. Maybe
Yeah.
was there one that you had gone to for a while that kind of was I don't know, your hometown bakery
Yes,
of sorts? Okay,
it's the one I made the building out of sugar cubes.
Oh, it was this.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was modeled
Oh.
after
It
that
was
bakery.
modeled after that bakery.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's called Bluebonnet Bakery. It's still
There it is.
there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
We have
Yeah.
a bakery in East Dallas that we loved going to.
Oh, yeah.
Casa Linda Bakery.
The best
yeah.
clown cookies,
Oh, it sounds so
which
weird.
is such a strange thing,
know,
but
I know.
it's the most nostalgic, beautiful.
Pettifors. That's
Oh,
the other
the
one. That's a little more
Pettifors.
classic.
Oh, yeah.
The
So
Pettifors
good.
are nice. But
Yes,
okay,
the
Blue
Pettifors,
Bonnet. Yeah.
yes,
Tell
that
me
Blue
about
Bonnet.
it. Was it just like your hometown one? Or
Yeah,
was it,
yeah,
okay.
and it was
Okay.
just like it was the bakery. I think that everybody went to in Fort
Yeah.
Worth and probably still does.
Mhm.
It was just down the street from where we lived, and it was in like a little strip center, and it just smelled so good. And my mom got my birthday cake there from every
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
and they had they had little pettifors were so good. I mean,
Yeah.
they still do. I still go in there, and they have great sugar cookies, and my mom still gets them for us. And
That's so
I mean,
cool.
it was so fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved that bakery. It was just visually like
Oh,
and the
yeah,
smelling.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just so nostalgic. Yeah.
So with all, I guess, like in Fort Worth, and then also you're saying in Dallas, like there wasn't a lot of macaroon bakeries.
Yeah.
Is there like a bakery movement at all, or has it been kind of like, no, hey, I'm kind of by myself in Oak Cliff doing some of this stuff, or like
No.
there are a couple other groups? Because I think I know like desserts wise, you have Shannon doing his own chocolates,
Yeah.
and then Catherine Clapner doing like Dude's Sweet Chocolate Emporium, obviously.
Yeah, pies.
There's pies here.
I
Is
feel
it-
like there has been like a movement, but it's
Okay.
kind of gone in
Yeah.
waves and seen what
I'm trying to think who would come to mind
Yeah.
even besides that's
there's
just the neighborhood
there's
ones.
been a real big ice cream
Oh yeah.
wave. I feel like I mean in Oak Cliff alone, I think that there's how many? I mean, just ice cream shops. I think in Bishop Arts there's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, they went really hard on the ice cream, which I'm like, I'm okay with that. That's not a problem.
I mean, they all have something. So, I think that there's always kind of that wave of bakery, and although it feels a little, I don't know. I mean, I think that there was a real trend for macarons, and now I feel like people are still totally dabbling in it and do it, but they're hard. They're hard to make, and it's hard to do.
Hard to make a business out of it. Yeah. What maybe outside of Oak Cliff, Dallas, like, are there ones that you've looked up to? Like bakeries or baking shops that have just been like, hey, they're doing this incredibly well. You're good.
I mean, I think. What do we think? I mean, I really do like all of baked goods, so I'll go anywhere. I mean, Emporium, of course. I love their pies are so, it's crazy. I mean, I love they're killing it, and I think they make such a great product.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of outside. I don't leave Oak Cliff a lot.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I try not to.
Yeah, understand.
But I mean, y'all have Oak Cliff bread.
Yes, we were talking about them earlier.
And I think what they're doing is amazing. And I think they just got like best of, and
Best of D Magazine, Best Bakery.
So I'm not the only one who thinks that they're doing a great job, and they have a great product, and there's so many great places. I feel like
no doubt. Well, when you think about your different locations, you've got a kind of a big business in terms of locations, places to go visit. What does a day in the life look like for you as you manage this whole business?
Well, I spend most of my time, I would say, in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I recently have just been doing a lot of we're doing a lot of R&D right now. Just lots of recipe development.
That's exciting.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of that. I spend most of my time in the kitchen just kind of like looking at production and making sure that we have everything that we need and kind of managing that situation. I have great people. I have an amazing team. So they're they don't really need me, but but I do go in there and I pester them. And then I spend a lot of time at the Davis Street store too. I just love that store, and I love to be in it. And then I hop around to the other stores here and there. Yeah,
well, that's good.
I mean, I need to be more of a presence in those stores, but yeah, Jason does a lot of that front of house stuff, and I do a lot of kitchen stuff.
And you two, like you were saying earlier, it was making me smile because Doug and I run these businesses together. Family business. It's always like a fun topic.
Totally. But you probably have your roles, right? You're just like naturally attracted to certain things, and you're naturally attracted to other things, and that's why it works. I think that's why it works for Jason and I.
Yeah, I think that's pretty similar. Right? I think we, have that similar sort of. We've got our strengths, and we kind of know where to swim.
Yes, and thank goodness, right? Because I'm sure that
it would not work
stuff
without
that you don't like. And
100%.
I know.
So it's
I know.
So you probably know that well. Then,
I'm
sure.
For sure. Yeah, that's been so great. I think that's why we've had so much success. Is that we both love this business, but we're really better. He's really good at certain things, and I'm good at certain things, and so. And those two things don't often converge.
We understand. Yes. Yeah. It's helpful. It's helpful as a team.
Yeah, sure.
We've talked to entrepreneurs who are doing this by themselves sometimes, and it's just like, at one point I'm like, I feel for you.
I know.
But also keep going if you can.
Yes, I know.
It's nice having a partner in it.
It is so nice having a partner for sure.
Well, speaking of partnerships, you partnered with Oak Cliff Coffee Roasters.
Yes. Yes.
And tell me a little bit about.
I'm just saying because I did not. We just used their coffee in our shop, and
Amazing.
so I didn't ask Shannon, but I'm sure he'd be okay knowing that.
I'm sure he'd be pumped about that.
He used his ingredients.
I'm using your coffee, Shannon, in our coffee toffee ice cream.
So is that how it came about? You were just like, hey, this will be great. Or okay, cool. I love that.
I mean, it's also thoughtful though for sure too, because we use their coffee in the coffee in our stores.
Yes.
That's what we serve, and then so it just makes sense that we would put it in our ice cream too. And we've done that in the past where it was a little bit more of a partnership, and I told him about it.
This one was this one's just secret partnership. I like it. It's fun.
But but it's good. It's so great. So of course we use it, and it's been fun. So what we do is we just steep the coffee in our ice cream base, and then we try to make everything that we can from scratch. So, we make the toffee, and then we bang it up and throw it in the ice cream. It's so good. We used to make this flavor all the time in an ice cream sandwich, and then we stopped. And then because we were just trying, we're constantly just trying other flavors and stuff. And so this time we put it in a tub. So it's a scoop. So we started about, I don't know. I'm going to get this wrong for sure. But maybe it was like 3 or 4 years ago we started making our own ice cream scoops, because we were getting lots of questions or lots of people requesting ice cream not in the ice cream sandwich. Yep. So we had the macarons, and then we had ice cream sandwiches, and people were coming in and saying, I really just want some ice cream. So then we decided that we were going to start making ice cream. So we make 6 flavors. A few of them are all the time, and a few of them are just seasonal. So
what are some of those flavors? It's lavender fluff.
So
it's like a marshmallow.
It's a marshmallow. I would put marshmallow or marshmallow fluff on everything. You have to really. I mean, it's my idea for everything. I'll be like, what do y'all think we should do this season? Let's do like marshmallow. And my team is like, we can't put marshmallow on everything.
Yeah. Coffee marshmallow.
So coffee marshmallow. Like, should we throw some marshmallow in there?
Hilarious. I love that.
So lavender fluff, which is a lavender ice cream with marshmallow fluff, which was just the most surprising flavor. I was just kidding when I said put marshmallow in that, but then it turned out to be so good.
Amazing.
So it's my favorite. And then we do a cookie dough, and everything is in our bakery is gluten-free. That's not really because I'm gluten-free or anything. It just, macarons are naturally made with almond flour. So we just wanted to keep it really simple and clean for everybody. So we don't use any gluten. So we make all the cookie dough. We have 3 different cookie doughs in our cookie dough ice cream, make it all, gluten-free. And then we have our most popular is the pistachio brittle.
Oof,
so it's pistachio ice cream and then a pistachio brittle that we make and then crunch up in there.
That's awesome.
So that's fun.
It's been a bad habit, maybe a good habit, but on my trips on the weekend, if I go to Home Depot, it's like a straight shot right past it, and I just get a scoop of the cookie dough.
This true confession right now.
Kelsey, if you're listening, that's usually the extra 5 minutes.
I don't know. There was a line at Home Depot.
Yeah, it was. I just couldn't find what I was looking for. But so funny. I mean, I think. I remember hearing, I think it was the person who started Jenny's Ice Cream, talking about how ice cream has such a ability to bring in smells and like taste that like you kind of don't find in other food mediums or formats. Have you found that with ice cream? With some of the flavors you've been testing out in your R&D kitchen and stuff like that?
Yes, we just we just tried a condensed milk ice cream, and it was so fun. It's so fun. That's what's so fun about ice cream. I think macarons are the same. I mean, you can kind of put anything in the middle and you're like, so fun. But you have a little bit more room. These are so tiny. You have more room to play with ice cream. So I definitely think that there's the flavor, you can go wild.
Yeah,
really go
for
wild.
sure.
I think I just read the other day somebody did a foie gras ice cream. I was reading about, I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
I know. So it was in Austin, and then they were doing something else. It's just so fun. Just go any which way. Yeah.
I always love it when a company is like willing to put that sort of thing out there.
Absolutely.
Because it is fun. It's like, hey, you're not... Fun. You clearly love what you're making.
Yes.
So it's like, try some things that are not weird. Normal.
Like,
it's great.
What Aaron Garcia's black pepper pilsner. Why would you put black pepper in a beer?
Yeah.
But it worked. And it worked. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It reminds me of that. Okay, I'm looking at the flavor profiles.
Aaron?
He's the best,
He's so great.
He's awesome. Here's a little shout out to Aaron. So, okay. These are the flavors that you have. First off, it's like a gorgeous design, super fun. I think you said is Patrick your
he's my cousin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did he come up with this kind of concept of
the cookie heads?
The cookie heads. I think it's
way to go, Patrick.
Way to go, Patrick.
Another shout out.
Local. He's doing awesome things. But I think this is super fun. But on this, I was gonna say, is there any like flavors that stand out that you've just always loved? And it might be a boring answer, you said potentially, but and ones people should look out for too as they go into the shop.
Well, I mean, I love lavender. It's not for everyone, but it's kind of my favorite, one of my favorite flavor profiles, and so that's why we have so much of it. Awesome. We have it in an ice cream, we have it in a sandwich, and we have it in a cookie. So that's the one that I'm always gravitating towards. But I also really love the pistachio. There's something, we put pistachio flour in the cookie. It's really mild, but it kind of toasts a little bit in the oven, and it also makes this really wonderful consistency in the cookie. Yeah. And then we just put vanilla buttercream in the middle because it just worked the best in our opinion. So that one I always really love too. But I like all of them. They're all special to me.
My mouth is starting to water. The more we're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, that does sound really good. Just staring at
this. So fun. No, they're fun. The peanut butter and jelly this is our seasonal one right now. It's peanut butter and jelly for like back to school.
Oh, smart.
And it really tastes like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I really like that one too. But I eat all whatever we're making. I'm eating it.
Yep.
I remember you mentioning in your talk, you were like, if it looks a little normal, like I'm going to eat that one. I'm like, this is the kind of job I need to be in. This is great.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like,
so fun.
This one is a little wonky. I better just eat it.
Yeah, that's
just
hilarious.
Take care of that.
I don't want to waste it.
No, of course not. Gotta eat it. Well, as you think about the future of Joy, is there exciting things to think about as you kind of continue to grow the business and sustain it? Because I know it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
What's the next 10 years of Joy look like?
I mean, I don't have any major announcements right now, but I mean, I think we're always kind of looking for other great locations, and I would love to open another location somewhere. And we're, I don't know. I mean, I think we're really working hard on trying to get some new ice cream flavors and stuff like that out there.
Ice cream's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's so fun. Yeah.
I love that you guys you just leaned into people were wanting ice cream, and you're like, okay, we'll figure out ice cream, and now it's like the best ice cream. It's just so good. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a
we love it.
Great
it's
story.
Fun. It's super fun too. So I think we're just gonna keep just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully putting out really great product and making people feel good too when they come in, and who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's such a. I mean, the name itself, it does bring in the brand, the colors, all this. I think it is such an awesome experience when people come and what you've built there, and so encourage listeners to go swing by and get a box, or what is the triangles? There's like 6 of them. The triangle boxes are so fun. So go by, swing.
Patrick too.
Did he?
Oh yeah, he's designed our packaging too.
Yeah, of course he has.
Of course he has.
That's awesome. So besides the shop, are there other places people can follow along with what you do, or is it mainly Instagram?
Yes, Instagram, and then you can order them online. We have our website. We have delivery and all that stuff, and and you can. I think we've made it pretty easy to order. You can have them delivered. You can order ahead and pick up. We try to do all that stuff. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Liz, thanks for being on the show.
We
super
so
appreciate
much.
you.
Yeah,
being
thanks
here.
for coming by.
Yeah,
it's so fun chatting with you.
So fun. Always fun.
Thanks.
I love it.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend. And thanks so much for tuning in.